you're in the royal family and you just threw it all away, kind of everything going for you and bad stuff happens to you, people don't feel as sorry for you because you have resources.
What would be the percentage if you offered everybody in the United States the opportunity to become a royal?
That would be interesting. I would say it would be really high.
Hey there, folks. Which category do you fall into when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan? You only got three options, really, Robes. You either absolutely love them, you absolutely hate them, or you don't give a damn at all one way or another what's going on with these two. And with that, welcome, everybody. We are out of network. I'm TJ, that's Robes. We're out of network, so I can now ask you, which category do you fall in?
I've never absolutely hated them. So that's
How
one
could
category
anybody?
I've never been in.
First
A
of
lot
all.
of people do. And I actually, as we were looking and doing some research about this before we started, I am just shocked at how upset people are. Like, they zoom in on her facial expressions and try to read her mind and what she really like. And they all want to make her out to be a bitch. But I will tell you, I almost always am 100% rooting for them. There have been times when it gets too much. There's an oversaturation and you're just like, ugh, enough. But I've never felt anything but, I mean,
But
I've been rooting for them, I guess is the best way to put it.
But the oversaturation isn't usually their fault, is it? Do they do a lot that annoys? After I
Yes.
said it out loud.
Writing the book, doing the
okay.
Netflix series.
Okay. You could see why some would take that poorly. In particular, their family members with some of that stuff. We get it. But the new thing, as we record this, Robes, they are no longer residents of the United States of America.
It's pretty remarkable, yes.
Right?
In fact, the day we recorded
Yes.
this was within hours of them reportedly landing in the United Kingdom. The BBC reported
This
that
is
they
huge.
are back across the pond. For how long, we don't know, but at least for this school year, we can presume, I believe. So at least for the next year or so,
Robes, Prince Harry is back home.
the prodigal son.
Okay, we have to give that. Princess
Yeah.
Di's son just came back home after a 6-year self-imposed exile in Montecito, California. Robes, something about that is kind of special. I'd love to hear that those two kids are back on that soil, that they're going to get to be with their granddaddy king. All that's exciting. Why is Meghan Markle the one always being talked about most?
Because I do think that women, we do
Is
tend
that
to
it?
have spots on our back, targets on our back.
Okay.
And you're either, like, we fit into categories, right? Either we're the evil temptress, or we're the mean girl, or we're the maternal, loving woman.
Okay.
It's like we have to fit into these categories. And sometimes we're all of the above. And she hasn't been able to shake the mean girl, who's basically dragging Harry around to do her bidding. She has gotten, I think, the short end of the stick when it comes to public sentiment, and people don't give her the benefit of the doubt. They assume the worst. And I think she's suffered that, whether it was self-imposed or not. But I think any time you profit off of, or you try to profit off of, something negative or something that's even deemed your fault, it's hard to get out from underneath that hole. And I think that's kind of where they found themselves with the books and the interviews and the Netflix documentaries. I just feel like people got the, ew, you're trying to make money from your problems, and that feels icky, and you all want us to feel sorry for you. And when you're trying to sway public sentiment to you because you've been victimized by the mean royal family, I think that's just a really hard thing to be selling your victimhood and at the same time wanting your favorability and likability scores to go up.
Okay, you made more sense to me. You were losing me for a second, and then when you juxtaposed what you were saying, the reality of what was going on with them, Robes. I think we could feel bad for, have some sympathy
Absolutely.
for. Even Prince Harry. I mean, we just do automatically. We love those boys, right? Because of
Right.
Princess Di. But Robes, it did. I didn't put the collection of things together, and we're not accusing, would never dare, right? But that word is being thrown around, victimhood. They did several things that,
Poor us
and nobody wants to hear that.
in their $14 million mansion.
Nobody wants to hear it. I understand. They have every right to do and say
Absolutely.
whatever they want. I can understand now. Robes, they didn't have a chance. Hi, I am really, Robes, they're rubbing elbows with the richest of the rich, the most famous of the famous. From our perspective,
Yes.
a layperson, this looks like you have it made. When you come out and not just on one occasion tell your truth, Robes, there was a steady drumbeat of we are victims. It was a steady one.
Yes, from lawsuits to book deals.
There were lawsuits.
And the problem
it's-
is,
yeah.
and I just, this is just the truth, when you're royalty, when you're famous, when you have money, when you have good looks, when you have kind of everything going for you and bad stuff happens to you, people don't feel as sorry for you because you have resources and you have outlets and you have opportunities that when bad things happen to regular people, they are just flat out screwed oftentimes. And so it's harder, I think, for people to feel sympathetic for and actually get annoyed by people who do have incredible resources, also like saying, poor me. It's hard. I understand that.
That is the thing. I felt sorry for her before she ever said anything about examples of why I should feel sorry for her. This is a mixed race woman going into that environment, that home, that tabloid haven.
Yes.
I did. I felt sorry for her. I knew what we all knew what was going to be coming her way. So here we are. We're talking about them now because, yes, they did announce that they are moving back to the UK. Looks like they are there already. The kids are enrolled in school. But as soon as that news came out, Robes, it was followed by the other news that made her the story front and center once again. So it started up. So everything that happened to her press-wise and is exactly what my concern was. As soon as this news came out about them moving back, we hear she has an acting gig. Robes, what was my reaction as soon as I heard they were moving back?
You just said, I hope she's going to be okay.
That was it.
Mentally. I mean, look, I understand from the outside looking in, and you say, please, what do you have to complain about? You got a $14 million mansion in Montecito. You've got a beautiful home in Portugal. Now you're having a private home outside of London. Wah, wah, wah. But I think, look, just even on a small level, we can understand what that just constant scrutiny, it is oppressive, it is soul crushing, and no matter how many resources you have, certainly that makes it easier. Certainly when you can have the jail cell or the hideaways that they've had, they're beautiful and they're opulent, but they're still a prison in a way that you don't get to act and behave freely without scrutiny. But look, I get it. Fame comes with a price tag, and you could argue she knew what she was getting into. And add now, you're a princess, you're a duchess, you're in the royal family, and you just threw it all away because you didn't like how people spoke to you, or you didn't like this, that, or the other. I think she's in and he too, but she especially is in a tough spot.
I hate it for her, but you use the word complain. That's where I think that is where you jump the ship. Not you, I'm saying, but anybody in that position. Robes, I bet she has had a tougher mental health challenge than I have in what she went through. I bet she has heard some stuff within her home family that would shock the hell out of me. I bet she's been through it. That's the difference, Robes. I can sympathize already. Go, do your work. Get involved. Stuff will leak, and there are ways that we can just, in observing her, Robes, can relate to her if she just went about her life. When you start when you said the word complain, that is how it's being interpreted. And there's a royal, a mantra they have essentially. Don't complain and don't explain.
Stay calm and carry on.
Man, it is. So nobody wants to hear anything from someone named Princess Blank complaining about how difficult it is to be Princess Blank.
Yes, and you just hit it on the head, I think, when it comes to the British people. They are stoic to a fault. They pride themselves on not complaining. They pride themselves culturally with the stiff upper lip. I mean, think about all the sayings and phrases that would apply to the British people. It usually all is about being stoic and not showing weakness and not complaining, but just carrying on and pushing through. Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going. I mean, it's kind of funny when you start to think about British phrases, they all basically go back to stoicism. And she has displayed the exact opposite.
We don't want to hear that. We don't, right? I'm laughing because I know you'll recall this. We were amazed by the Brits when we were there to cover Queen Elizabeth's funeral. They were as stoic and together, and anytime someone did show emotion, it'd be like headline news because they just have a way, and it was so orderly. It was calm. It was amazing.
Measured, controlled,
all
of those things.
So she can't handle, in their eyes at least.
Yes.
You're a frail young lady. You can't handle royal life, huh?
And people say mean things about me.
Again, that is not us saying this about her. That is
No.
how she gets in, how they interpret robes, and it's unfortunate. I think she has probably gone through hell.
Oh yeah,
hell.
Look, anyone, if you've had anyone say anything negative about you, even whatever in your circle, someone's talking about you. I think everyone's been in the position of having gossip, and just whether it's true or not, it hurts. Now multiply that by 1,000,000. You have an entire nation, and you have two nations, and frankly the world commenting, saying whatever snarky thing they want, judging. Like I said, I was surprised, literally analyzing pictures of your facial expressions and how you like trying to read her lips when she's talking to Harry. I started looking really truly at the scrutiny. Man. That is tough. Body language experts, and just everything you do, everything you say, whether you're smiling, if you're smiling, you're being snarky, you're being disrespectful. If you have a stern look on your face, you're rude, you're mean, you're angry, you're pissed. It's just she cannot win. So look, the idea then that she might go back into the acting world, that's what really gave you pause, because now it's not about just laying low and living your life. It's about putting yourself and choosing to put yourself back in a very big spotlight.
Okay, but a lot of folks said this would be good for her. And this, we didn't explain here, but yes, as soon as they said they were going to make a move, it was a day or two later, whatever it was, that she had an acting gig potentially with a show on Netflix that we weren't familiar with. Clearly, everybody's been talking about it now. I got to check it out. It sounds awesome, actually.
The Gentleman, Guy Ritchie's. And in fact, I've been reading so many, it's wild from day to day to day, from news outlet to news outlet. You'll either hear, she got the job, she's in advanced talks to get the job has been rescinded because of all of the backlash in the UK, to the job still on the table. And actually, Guy Ritchie is loving all of this because...
We're talking about Guy Ritchie's show.
We're talking about his show. And by the way, all of these rumors bubbled up within a day or two of them announcing they've just been renewed for a third season. And that third season of The Gentleman is what Meghan Markle is rumored to be considered for.
Okay, now when I did hear she was going to be acting, I've had the opposite effect, maybe, that putting herself back in the spotlight. I thought she would have something to do. She'd have a purpose, and it's also her profession. It's her thing. Then you brought up, I'm not sure if it's been talked about yet, how the folks on the set might be feeling right now.
Yes. So look, and this is, what drives us crazy. We've talked about this plenty. Sources say. It is the most commonly used. So yes, a lot of this is sources say. And they've got competing sources saying different things. But they're in the same article that said Guy Ritchie was loving every second of this. They also said that members of the cast and crew are not, because they've worked really hard on this show. It's a prestigious show. It is an acclaimed show. And they hate the fact that now the second season is beginning September 3rd. That it's now all being overshadowed by the will she or won't she? Is she or isn't she going to be a part of this cast? And once if she is cast on the show, will the focus just solely be on her, and the rest of it, will it all get lost? Because this is we do want to watch it, We love some of the actors involved in it.
The concept
the premise
sounds cool, yeah.
is really, really cool, and a lot of it would kind of be art imitating life because of just the concept where you have aristocrats and royals mixing with American businessmen, drug lords. So it would be a good fit. It would be cool to see. And I've even seen a report, Giancarlo Esposito, who I happen to be a huge fan of, Breaking Bad fame, just such a great guy. We've interviewed him.
He's got a great backstory, too. He's awesome.
Not only is he a phenomenal actor, he's just a cool guy. Like, he's just fun to be around and fun to interview. But he plays this American billionaire criminal, basically. And there has already been speculation that she could come in to the show as his daughter. Because there aren't a lot of Americans on the show. It's a British show. He's an American. And wouldn't that be just even like, what is Giancarlo Esposito? Is he
from? Yeah, I don't know
mixed race as well?
Yeah, I don't know his
but
background.
it would make sense just visually knowing what he looks like. I could buy that she could be his daughter.
Oh, yeah, it could work. But
It would
still.
work.
All right, so now Variety is reporting, I think you're about to quote this, that this is all ridiculous that this got out. Because someone is saying that they were in that meeting when Guy Ritchie threw a bunch of names out. It wasn't a matter of any advanced talks. They were shocked at how we were having like a spitballing session, and her name, it like 50 names are here. Hers didn't stand out and didn't spend any more time than anybody. It was a random nothing of a nothing. It was nothing. So
it gets out, it builds all this steam, and now in that same article, they're claiming, oh, definitely Meghan Markle's people who were floating this. And look, we know this happens. Agents do this.
Yeah.
And we've both been accused of floating our own stories, which we have never done. But
so we don't have people.
we don't have people. But people who have people, yes, this does happen. Almost like testing the waters kind of a thing. What would be the reaction? Also, maybe just getting people warmed up to the idea that Meghan Markle might go back to acting. And also, in a way, letting other directors, other casting directors know that she is ready to be back in an acting capacity.
So wait, is the show not going to continue with Love, Meghan on that? Wait, they ended that.
That was done.
That's right.
So look,
That
she
sucks.
did try to make a mark and actually enter into this homemaking guru brands lifestyle brand.
She hasn't given it up yet, though,
sort
right?
of thing. She still has As Ever. That is
Yeah.
her. I think she's selling jams and candles and things like that.
Jams and candles.
Correct, but it's not
It's my lane,
obviously
baby.
at the level of what she had hoped it was going to be with the Netflix special. She wanted to be the next Martha Stewart. I think that's fair to say. Look, Martha is wonderful. No one will ever be able to be Martha Stewart, but she is of a certain age, and it is possible. Who is that next person coming up behind her?
I like the show.
You love the show.
You know, I think it's so beautifully shot. It's so well done. I like the show.
The question was her credentials, and it had been questioned. First, she's an actress, then she's a princess. This is Martha Stewart, and now she wants to be into the lifestyle brand, and those are all really tough transitions to make, and maybe don't seem authentic to folks. And look, authenticity sells. When people feel like maybe you're putting on or you're throwing everything to try and see what sticks. People don't generally like that, because especially when it comes to, I would say, women looking to other women for tips about gardening or food prep or gifting and just having those fun kitchen moments with your girlfriends. You want to learn from or turn towards someone who can teach you something. And it just wasn't clear what her resume, what was in her resume that lent her that. And look, I will say, having watched it, she did rely on experts. She did bring in people who knew more than she did and who were teaching her along with the rest of us. I don't think she was pretending to be some guru.
I thought she was cool.
I did too.
I mean, we actually do sometimes. We're sitting in our studio here at the house. We have a big TV here. Rose, how many times in the morning you walk in here and that show is just on a loop?
You love it.
I watch. I just have it on in the back because it's pretty to see. I don't have the volume up.
It is pretty. My takeaway is, and I've never met Meghan Markle.
Never.
I don't know anything about who she is, but I do think that, and like she was almost trying. It felt like she was trying to be Martha, like very deliberate and very slow in her speaking. And she was. I mean, look, imitation is the highest form of flattery. So I would think Martha might have been like, look, she's actually, even her cadence and the way she was speaking, it seemed very Martha Stewart-esque. But the problem with that is, I don't know Meghan Markle. I only know her as an actress.
Damn.
I only know her as,
Uh-oh.
someone who didn't speak much when she was in her royal capacity. I didn't feel like I got to meet Meghan on that show. I wanted her to bring some of her own something. And I just felt like she was very controlled. And look, I understand why she would be. She's probably scared to death of saying something wrong or doing something offensive at this point. And so she was so measured and she was so controlled. I think she might have done herself a disservice. That's just my personal opinion. Like, I wanted to see her kind of just be herself and not be like,
Well, maybe that is her.
Maybe that is her.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. I don't know. And that's the thing.
That was when you started
I
putting this
don't
together.
know.
I'm trying to think of a time I thought I saw the authentic her. I'm trying to think of a time where I was like, oh, yeah, that's...
Like, we know
Meghan.
Harry. Devilish, funny hair. And I have had the opportunity to meet him a couple times, and he is funny and sweet and, like, down. He actually is remarkably down to earth. But don't you feel like you know him just when you see his smile or the
Because
twinkle in his eye?
we've seen him
or-
cut up since he was
We
a
have.
kid.
Yeah. We've watched him grow up.
Okay, but
He
I
got
don't-
to be like that. He was allowed to be like that because he was the spare.
Man,
He got to be himself.
You make a... Yeah, I don't know anything about William. I don't know an authentic...
Or
anything
Kate.
about it,
They're
or her.
very, very... But they know their job. They know their role. And people respect them for staying in it.
Respect.
They respect
I
them
do.
for putting duty above
Yeah.
maybe even any sort of personal gain. They always seem like they're in service.
That's a reminder, Robes. Folks there do consider royals to be in service. This is public life. This is a lifetime of service that the king had to wait until he was 70 whatever to become king. He has been serving since a baby for this moment.
Don't upstage mama.
The Robes, that they take this a lot more seriously than we do from afar. Robes, it's like almost the highest offense. What they did is to shun your responsibility, your duty, and then on your way out, you insult the institution.
Well, you ask if you can have halvesies, if you can have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That is almost blasphemous. I mean, that is an affront to what the whole concept behind the royal family is right now. Because look, they don't have the power they once had. Obviously, none of that. So the one thing they do have is this notion, this idea of public service. And when you reject that, and you want to have
you have the
an
right to, I
ability,
guess.
you do absolutely.
Yeah.
But you can't have it both ways. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. And it kind of seemed like that's what they were trying to do.
Bo, you remember Queen Elizabeth was supportive. You remember
Yes.
that glowing statement she put out when they decided they were not going to be full-time working royals anymore. She was very supportive of that move. Rose, I don't remember how long. The wedding was in 2018, but how long were they actually working royals?
I know that they moved back to California in 2020.
That was
So
pretty-
not long.
That's pretty short.
Not long at all.
That was really short.
And they have been, as you point out, in exile, or however you want to categorize it,
Self-imposed.
for 6 years. Yeah, they chose it. They chose it. And then they chose to speak out, speak often, and make money from the tales they were telling. And I think that is what rubs so many people the wrong way.
That's understandable. I don't know how much work, what they want to get back in the good graces of the folks in the UK or not. I think they do, Robes. It's hard to.
Doesn't everybody want to be liked? Doesn't everybody want to be popular?
Yeah.
So of course I would think that's what they want. And I don't think they're bad people at all. I think this was a tough situation that they made worse, but they felt attacked. They felt backed into a corner, or at least Meghan did. And unfortunately, I think made a series of missteps. And you know what? You and I both have always believed this before everything we went through. Just watching people as journalists, I think especially them, there is a path forward. I do think so. I want to believe that they can do the next right thing. And they're going to have to be careful in making sure it doesn't look like they're profiting off something or seizing an opportunity to...
That's the problem. You just said it, babe. They have to be careful. If you're being careful, you're being calculated. If you're being calculated, you're not being authentic. What are they trying to manipulate? No, I'm not suggesting they are, but won't they forever be viewed as, man, what big PR firm did they hire to help them get better press in the UK? I mean, not that the UK would give a damn.
But yes, but imagine if Harry
Yes.
just sticks to his charitable organizations, and we all applaud him for all the work he's done for wounded vets, etc. And if Meghan were able
That's
to
right.
get an acting job where she just got to do what she loved and she did it well, the kids were thriving at school, we got to see Harry and Meghan's kids hanging out with William and Kate's kids. Like, I do think slowly, if they just keep their heads down and they focus on doing what they love and not worry so much about what the
Do what they
PR
love.
is,
Okay.
and they do it with love,
To live
with good
authentically.
intentions, to live authentically. It won't happen overnight, but I want to believe that they could actually build a life that has meaning and joy, where they're viewed positively.
Can it happen privately?
Well, I think
Do
it
they
has
have to be
happen
public
privately.
figures? Do they have to, can they go back there and be literal private citizens, not showing up to public events? They're certainly not going to be working royals. Even they're not even going to let them have 1 foot in and 1 foot out kind of a thing, a part-time work. Nope. Can they go back there and not make a commitment to doing public things?
Don't they have to work? I have no idea how much money they have.
But I'm saying, to work, she can go back to being an actress. It doesn't mean she has to be making public.
She doesn't have to do the press tour with.
Well, I'm saying a public life. But I don't think Tom Holland is living a public life. You know what I'm saying? He's an actor, and he has to go do he does this stuff for work, and then he goes back to his business. Prince Harry showing up at this charitable event. Is she going to be having a hand in anything royal related? Is she going to be doing things that make her a public figure, like engaged in public organizations, engaged with government, engaged in that way?
According to all the sources right now, King Charles, and certainly it appears soon to be king or eventual king, Prince William, they are not in any way, shape, or form suggesting, and in fact they've said quite the opposite, that Harry and Meghan will not be working royals again.
Will they come to Christmas?
That's the hope. I mean, look, and it also has been said plenty that, and you have to think that visit with King Charles
Soften things.
absolutely opened the door and paved the way for Harry, Meghan, and the kids to come back. And it has been reported, I think, by just about everybody, that King Charles is happy and excited that Harry is back. And you know what? That actually makes me, that is so genuine. What father, I don't care if you're a king, I don't care what you do for a living, what father doesn't want his son near him and with him, especially as he's battling cancer, especially as he knows he probably doesn't have many, many, many years more, and to get to know his grandkids, who he has been isolated from.
Deal.
All of those things warm everyone's hearts, and I think that is their way back into
Cool.
to know that the king is excited to reestablish his relationship with Harry and to actually have a relationship with his grandkids. That is the way in, because everyone can understand that. Every human being can understand that need and that desire.
That's the most human. You just explained it in such a way that it might be the most human thing that I have heard or connect to this king. Like the idea of this, he's a king, very powerful guy, but yes, you know what? He's a frail guy and he's an older guy.
Yeah.
And he's an ill guy to a certain degree. Man, I think about my granddad. You think about grandparents, and it's everything to them. And he doesn't know these kids who are living a half a world away. And so he might be the one. I as you were talking, I
would think so.
Like I have in my mind this, I'm viewing the king and the two sons sitting down somewhere together privately and talking. I don't know if Kate and Meghan are going to be in the next room. Maybe that's later. But certainly the king has a hope and an ability to make this right.
And he's the one who can bring those two together. And look, I think part of the reason why a lot of people, I mean, I know, I can speak for myself. I feel like you can give Harry a little bit of a pass, even for his reaction to all of the negativity, his lawsuits against the press, his defense of his wife, Meghan. Maybe in doing so, that might be why he wrote the book. Yes, there was money involved too, but when you think about what happened to Princess Diana, why did she die? How did she die? She was being chased by the paparazzi. She was being chased by the British tabloid. And there is an inherent disgust and anger when it comes to the British tabloids. And so a lot of his choices, and I think a lot of the decisions he made for him and for his family were to defend his wife because he couldn't defend his mom. I think about that, and if you think about that being his motivation, instead of him, people talk about him being her lapdog, I actually look at him as honoring his mother and still having so much anger, understandable anger, towards the British press, towards all that negative publicity, and this absolute opportunity to now defend a woman. He couldn't defend his mom, but he can defend his wife. And I just think, for me, that's why I do have a soft spot. Even if they made missteps, I do feel like it might have come from that place. That makes a lot of sense.
Even short of that, I'm with you 100%, Robes. He might, in whatever private moment or in his heart, thinks this is an industry, or this is a mindset among tabloids. You guys killed my mom.
Yes.
And now you're coming after my wife. I ain't having it. Like, he might have a genuine, you started using words about frustrated and da-da-da. He might have a hatred.
Yeah.
And a justifiable one, babe, for this kind of foolishness, this kind of behavior. And I can understand a zero tolerance for it. He has been suing left and right. Tabloids and losing some.
Yes.
Yes.
And that speaks volumes.
But Rose, he left his homeland where I know he's way a little bit down the line. I know the kids bumped him down in the lines of who was going to take over. But Rose, he's still royalty to leave that life.
He is still Prince Harry. She is Princess
Meghan.
I always want to say Princess Kate.
That was
but it's Duchess. I don't know why it's Princess Kate and Duchess Meghan. But they are, I mean, that is amazing. That is remarkable. And to most people, that is something you should be proud of, that you should never just kick to the curb because you don't like some of what comes with those roles. And it seemed like a huge missed opportunity to do good. So maybe they'll be able, not as working royals, but just to take the platform that they have and the massive world stage that they have to learn lessons from the past 6 years and do better. And being over there, I think, is a good start.
You listen to all those things, Robes. It's a privilege.
It is a privilege.
I mean, Robes, what would be the percentage if you offered everybody in the United States the opportunity to become a royal?
That would be interesting. I would say would be really high.
So, I mean, I would leave you for the royal family if they gave me an offer. Let's be serious here. I mean, it's royalty. Obviously, I can only say that because Meghan barely got in. And I'm darker than she is. So.
That would be funny. I feel like I'm hopeful. I'm a little fearful like you are,
Scared
just
for her,
for
man.
what she's going to go
Scared for
through.
her.
But I do think that it's almost like they were hiding. They were hiding out. And yes, I know that they were still doing things here and there.
Yeah.
But this feels like an opportunity to face what they've been through and to forge a new path. And look, Meghan.
Forge a new path. Okay.
Meghan has obviously no relationship with her father. The half siblings that she has, those relationships don't seem to be doing well. Wasn't her half sister suing her?
Nope.
All
Oh my
sorts
God,
of
I
stuff.
forgot
Like
about
there's
all
just she has a ton of family drama. My point being is, there's no family that I'm aware of that would keep her in the States because I
Her
think
mom.
Mama. Well, doesn't Mama just go with her? Like I would imagine.
Oh, okay. The mama is going. Do we know?
I haven't heard that,
Okay.
but hasn't she been a huge part of those kids'
yeah.
lives
Oh, yeah.
in terms of
Oh,
caregiving? So it would not surprise me, and I guess I'm just operating under the assumption that Mama would be coming with them because she's almost been the de facto nanny, so to speak, from what I've gathered. And look, if now there can be a connection back to this family that is the heart and soul of who Harry is. Harry has been so disconnected from everyone he knew,
Sad.
everything he knew, the land he grew up in. So I'm hopeful that when you feel that disconnected, and I don't know what would have kept them in California. Meghan's Netflix deals weren't going so well, and it wasn't like she was getting acting opportunities here in the United States.
Well,
So
she said she was done acting anyway,
She
so
did
she
say
wasn't
that.
pursuing. But if she was
Never
back
say
in the
never,
game,
she said.
yes, but she's back in the game now. I guess maybe the last question I have for you, or for us here: do they have to do an interview? Do they have to write something? Do they have to put something out, explaining or some kind of way connecting the dots for people who are wondering why they're back in the UK?
I don't think they should.
Why? Because you think they're gonna blow it?
Yeah. Because they're going to say something that's going to piss somebody off. And
what could they say that won't piss off the majority then? What's the right thing to say?
Talk about family and wanting to be close to family and hoping to repair fractured relationships, and that's their hope.
It
and
sounds
that's
like
to be close to
contrition needs to
family.
be in there somewhere.
I don't know if they're going to go that far.
Okay.
And that's the thing. Will they say enough? Will they say too much? Will they leave out something that they should have said? I just think there's so much opportunity to screw it up that it's better to keep your head down and just do better. Don't talk about
Just do
being
better.
better. Just do better. Just show us. Don't tell us.
Man, that sounds like our fights. That's how that line is usually used in every fight we have. Just do better.
Just do better. Don't tell me about it. Just do it. That is true, though.
The Rose, I want to see on that balcony all these people together.
That would be awesome.
The thing that's going to make it okay, I want to see the two brothers sitting having a beer together at a pub somewhere. And I want to, yes, see those two women. I need Kate to tell me it's okay.
Kate can make it all right.
Kate
Honestly,
can come out right now.
All the power is in Kate's
Oh,
hands.
Kate.
If Kate shows Meghan grace,
Oh, my God. That's it.
Kate and William have all the power to make it right. And you know what I want to see? I would love to see in William's coronation that whole family there where you've got, yes, Meghan and Kate and the kids all on that balcony together celebrating soon-to-be King William. That would be awesome.
Babe, those are tough wounds. That stuff is in print. It's in print forever. Forever there for anybody to read. It's not like even an interview that can come down or anything. No, this is out there.
He needs to write another book. What I meant to say was...
Yeah. The other thing, Rose, you talk about Kate. We haven't mentioned this yet. Who are the two most popular royals?
William and Kate.
Who are the least popular royals?
Former Prince Andrew and then Meghan.
That's a true story.
She has nowhere to go but up. I can't imagine she would find herself below Andrew. That would take some work. But I look at it like this. She only has one way to go. And Harry did go up a few once he came back to the UK. Reports that he met with his dad. You actually is like, doop, 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 doop. He went above Andrew's daughters, correct? Eugenie and I always forget the other one. Beatrice and Eugenie. Yeah.
Oh my God, I've been doing too much royal stuff.
He went up above them, so it does go to show people are willing to reevaluate how they feel about Meghan and Harry. And honestly, we've never seen those kids' faces. Which, look, this is not a luxury that the royal family gets to have. Obviously, we got to.
Yeah,
I was standing outside the hospital for Kate for days waiting to get that first glimpse of Prince George. And look, they just know that comes with the territory. Your kids will be photographed. Your kids will be watched and monitored and talked about. Harry and Meghan I don't think anyone has ever gotten a picture of either one of those children's faces, Lilibet and Archie.
That's tough life.
That is hard. In this day and age, that is hard to do. Now that they're back in the UK,
they're not fair game.
They're not fair game, but in keeping with the royal tradition, they're also they are prince and princess, and I can't think of another prince and princess where we haven't seen their faces. So I will be really interested to see if that veil comes off.
How does that work?
Because I think
you'll get sued immediately.
Yes, but if they allow it, I think people, if they see, I do think this, if you see the faces of Archie and Lilibet, suddenly you see Harry and Meghan's love personified in this little cute being, whatever they look like. They're going to be adorable because they're 7 and 5. And suddenly your heart starts to warm. The ice starts to melt, and you start looking at Meghan as a mother. You start looking, and it starts to change the perception of this family. And I do think, in a way, by keeping them completely out of the narrative and their images out of our minds, were able to disassociate the human aspect of that family unit. And I do think, because she puts a bunch of stuff on Instagram, and it's all the backs of their heads or the faces out. I actually think if we got to cheer for those kids and root for those kids and fall in love with those kids, it would make a big difference. And not that you would use them as like some sort of PR thing.
But that's how it's going to be interpreted by some.
Well.
As you were talking, I'm like, wow, that would be good. Oof, they're going to get criticized for it. Why now?
They'll get criticized.
Why now all of a sudden? That would be the thing. Why now? You had an opportunity to do this all the time, but now you need some good press and you're coming back here, so now I could see people saying that. That would be a dream. How old is the oldest cousin
Archie's
now?
7.
No, the oldest cousin in the group.
George.
George is what? How many years ago was that?
My God.
Was he a teenager?
I think so. I was 40, so he's 13, I think. So he might be turning 13.
Okay. These kids, they're all at the prime age to be sitting at the kids' table together, having good conversation at the holidays. Yeah, I would love to see that and see these kids together. How do they keep them out of the public eye? I don't know, Robes, but I would love to see them as I haven't seen them as human beings yet. I haven't seen them as a couple yet. I haven't seen them love. Right? I know the pictures and everything, but a chill moment, an honest, a cool moment, Robes, to hear them say, "Look, we met, man. If we could do that all over again." That's tough to say. I know.
It could happen.
Man, if we could do it all, I've missed my brother. You know, it has pained me to see Harry and William not be together and to think that I was responsible for that. You know what? It's been difficult, right? Something to at least acknowledge, to just soften a little bit would go a long way. But I am now,
fingers crossed.
Robes, I've been out of the. I when they first got together, I wasn't that interested. The wedding, I fell in love. I loved that wedding and how it went down, and I was rooting for them the whole time. And then almost immediately after, Robes, there were reasons to go, what the hell, what the hell, what the hell? Everybody's fighting.
Look, and I think there is opportunity because we were looking at some of how folks have tried to measure the reaction from the British people about Harry and Meghan with their kids coming back to the UK, and it's been described by almost all news outlets as mixed. And I think that's a good sign that there are people who are excited at the chance of reconciliation. That is what will pull on people's heartstrings, even the stoic Brits. They have hearts, and they're rooting for the reconciliation. I mean, I'm joking. I think we all know that. I was just saying they may have the stiff upper lip, but they just don't show it on their face. But in terms of how they've been able to try to measure, this is all recent news in terms of learning that they were going to go back, and bam, they're already over. But they say a lot of people are rooting for reconciliation, and if that can happen, I think anything's possible.
All right. We shall see. We are rooting for you guys, Harry and Meghan, former residents of the United States. All right, folks, we always appreciate you. We are out of network, which allowed us to say all that stuff we just said. TJ, that's Robes. We'll see y'all soon.